All rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, students, faculty, and staff. Welcome to the WDCS announcements for Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. Today is an odd day. The word of the day is caterwaul. It means a very loud and unpleasant sound. There was a lot of caterwauling coming out of the cafeteria during lunch.
Cheerleading has practice today. The Black History Month talent show has rehearsals today. The gaming club meet after school tomorrow. The Black History Month show is tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. in the cafeteria. Test prep sessions are tomorrow after school.
Show your appreciation for Women's History Month. Join us on March 20th for an evening of poems, music, and dance to celebrate women's history and support the class of 2026. Suggested donation is $4 at the door.
I was born on February 23rd in 1868. I'm of African, French, and Dutch ancestry, and I was born in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, to my mother and my father, where nearly 2 years after my birth, my father deserted my family. This left my mother and our relatives to care for me. I was the first African American to graduate from my high school, and I was always interested in solving race relations. Since a little child, it was always one of my dreams. In 1888, I began attending Harvard as a junior. I graduated with my bachelor's cum laude in 1890, my master's in 1891, and my PhD in 1895. I taught for 2 years at Wilberforce University in Ohio, and just two years later, I found myself married to Nina Gomer, a student at the university, and we later had 2 children. By the end of my first year teaching at Wilberforce, my doctoral thesis was complete. In 1910, I joined the NAACP as an officer. I was the only black board member and the editor of its monthly magazine, The Crisis. However, this all came to an end in 1934 when I took a controversial stance on segregation. I believed that separate but equal was acceptable. Following the rift, I resigned and returned to Atlanta University, only to return back to the NAACP 10 years later as a director of special research. In my earlier days, I was active in the Pan-African movement, or the bond straightening of people with African ancestry. Towards the end of my life, I moved to Ghana as the government was funding the creation of my enslaved.
We all heard of Apple. Some of us have iPhones or MacBooks or iMacs. But do you know why Apple calls their computers, Macs? Back in 1979, an Apple employee was working on an experimental project for Apple. He decided to call it Macintosh, which was his favorite kind of apple. In the late 1990s, Apple switched from calling the computers Macintosh and started calling it, Mac, which sounds more cooler and more modern. At Albert Einstein College of Medicine received amazing news the other day. A former professor whose husband recently died announced that he has left her a lot of money for the stock market, which means that she can donate $1 billion to the school, which makes the school tuition free. Now students can go to medical school there without any worries about $59,000 a year for school.
We'd like to wish a happy birthday to Michaela Gray. Thank you for tuning in, Talks. Have an epic day, and we'll see you tomorrow. And that's a wrap.